Welcome back everyone to another showcase, and today we're going to be doing with Bedrock Edition, and we're going to be looking into the Warpstones add-on, in which it adds Warpstones, kind of similar to the Waystones mod for Java Edition, but it's on Bedrock Edition. So let me look at the details. So it says teleport to your favorite locations or your favorite players with ease using Warpstones. Fast transportation, dimensional travel, 30 different designs, death return, player and random teleportation tools, multiplayer friendly. Add this pack to your world today. It also has notes, meaning it also has little details such as player teleporter trinkets, death teleporter trinket. So I guess they have trinkets. We created an uncrafting recipe for the Warpstone core, so it can be uncrafted, and it's made by Mythicus. Yeah, Mythicus. So let's activate the add-on, and I'm just going to create a new world in which it's just going to be the Warpstones mod, creative mode. Um, I'm more set to peaceful since we're not doing any fighting. Advanced. Let's see. Cheats. We're going to enable the cheats. Always day because we'd rather keep it that way. And let's create the world. This will be my first time trying the Warpstones mod. And if you guys want to support the channel, the link is in the description so you guys can buy any type of your favorite DLCs or little packs into Minecraft, because mostly you can just use those just to, enhance your Bedrock experience more. But once you use the link, it's going to be at no cost to you, but it helps the channel. But I'm still learning Bedrock Edition. And plus, what happened to my fancy little shaders? I'm not sure if those are toggled for a reason, because I know I know I have them enabled. It seems like they toggled it. Wait, why is it toggled? What? Okay, this doesn't make any sense. Why did they lock the settings? Wait a second. I think I know why they locked the settings for me to not use shader. It's because there's a Minecraft movie event going on, which we have to vote for one of the builds. I went to one of those. It was quite interesting, but I will show you guys which one I actually voted. But we're going to focus mostly on the showcase, because this is what we came here for, the showcase. So we have is the Warpstone guidebook, and it says this add-on is by Mythicus Studios. Why does it feel like all these type of creators are made by like productions and studios and corporations? This is insane. Why can't it just be like a solo independent modder? Why does it gotta be a group? I want to see independence. I want to see some independent creators. But it's fine. What are warpstones? Warpstones are blocks you can craft that allow you to fast travel to other warpstones. Warpstones can be thousands of blocks away from each other, and you can get there instantly. They can be placed in any dimension. In multiplayer, this works with warpstones you do not own as well. How do you create a warpstone? There is a main component of the warpstone called the warpstone core, in which it's right here. That's the warpstone core. And this is the center item of all the warpstone recipes. Most of the warpstones will then use materials corresponding to what they look like. Crafting recipes can be viewed by clicking on the crafting table and turning on the recipe toggler. How do I access the warpstone menu? You will need to craft a warpstone wand. This item can be used by interacting on the warpstone to access the teleport menu and settings. How come I only have access to 3 warpstones? It seems like there's just a lot more reading. They also have different updates, trinkets. It's just a lot to digest. But I know we have the Warpstone core, and we have the Warpstone wand. They said in order to do this, you just gotta get a crafting table. So let me just do this. I mean, I could go into survival just to see like what it looks like. So I'll pull up my crafting table, and I go to game mode, survival. And then I want to open this. Let's see. So we have player teleporter, which requires the Warpstone core and some... Wait, we can also get a diamond from this? That's insane. So you gotta get a Wither Skeleton Skull to get a player teleporter. And for the return teleporter, it requires a lot of coal. So this is only if you die and you just have tons of charcoal on you, which you can just get it from smelting trees in a furnace. Then you can report back to your previous death. You also got a random teleporter, which requires 4 diamonds, and which a warpstone core. But I'm trying to figure out how to make the warpstone core, though. Let's see. Warpstone core. How you make this? This requires a diamond, gold ingot, and copper. That sounds affordable. A wand, dirt, and some sticks. And the warpstone, let me check the warpstone itself. Requires stone and warpstone core. And I think you can also make different types of designs, but let's just give it a try. So we're going to go into creative mode just to try an example. So we have warpstone number 1. I'm just going to name it as 0.1. Icon, I'm just going to name it as X. So yeah, it's going to set that to X. I would say as an icon. And then we have this location, which this is going to be 0.2. And this is going to be, say, hypothetically, village. And I just submit that. And if I go to survival mode, does this require experience? Okay, so as you can see, we can go to 0.1. That's actually kind of cool. It does not depend on experience, and it also gives you a little bit of resistance, and I actually see it. It's very faint, but it's a very faint effect, and I think you got to punch it to interact with it. And then we have the wand. So what happens if we click on the warpstone with the wand? Okay, so if you use the wand, you actually have more access. So it shows you like this is the X and this is the villager that I set as the icon. We have the edit list in which we can reorder the waystones. We can make maybe this 1.2 and this 1.1. Like, look at this. You can literally just change it. Like right now, this is like 0.2 and then 0.1. It gets crazier. It's like, it's kind of cool. And then you have settings, which we can change the names, unlock a warpstone, and we can break a warpstone. Break a warpstone, let's see. This action, this will permanently break this warpstone. This action cannot be undone. Let's see what happens. Oh, so you technically broke it physically. So let me just type crafting table. Crafting table. Chest, submit. Let's go to 0.2. All right. Yeah, see, picture of a chest, but I call it a crafting table. So now I'm going to go ahead and try different dimensions. So let me open up this and get some obsidian. I'm still new to Bedrock Edition, but so far everything looks quite self-explanatory. It might take a little bit of time to get used to, but it's all part of the learning experience. So we're going to build our portal. Okay. And then we go into the nether. The game is a little bit laggy. Alright, so if we have a warpstone here, and I named it as nether, I'm going to name it as skull because it's deadly. If I click this, actually let me just go to survival mode. Yeah, so you can actually see it shows us these coordinates back. If I say go to like number 1. Okay, let's see. Will it teleport me back to that point? Yes, it did. And what if we try to use the warpstone again and go back to the nether? I'll say it's still a bit buggy because we still like get stuck in the warpstone, but as I see it, it effectively works. We can remove the portal, and man, it's so loud. Jeez. I may have to do some modifications to the sounds because I'm not much of a person that, it's sort of like I'm trying to control the game volume, but I think it's just too overall loud. It's like I have to set to like a very low, like I would say 40% might be fair. But I can't tell because this is my first time. And last but not least, we are going to try is the end portal. So let me just get some end portal frames and a Eye of Ender. We also have the Ender Crystal Warpstone. Oh, so I'm pretty sure this is pretty similar. And I think in order to remove this, you got to go to settings, break the Warpstone to actually collect it. So, because if you try punching it, it doesn't work. It kind of just opens up the GUI. It's good that I'm learning something new. So let's just go ahead and place our end portal frames. This feels so weird, just doing this in Bedrock Edition. There we go. So if we're in the end, and then we have, say, hypothetically another warpstone, I type end, I type as, I'll say like cave, just name it as something. Then I want to get out of here because I don't want to get killed by that dragon. We do that. This is going to take us right back to the overworld. And now we're back at point 2, right next to this end portal frame. So all it does, it makes transportation so easy. You don't have to use any sort of experience. You just need some materials, and then you got yourself some instant transportation. But I wish there was like a better way to transport ourselves that feels earned instead of just using sudden magic. But this is one way to get around if you ever just want to make it easier on yourself, just to get from one place to the next instead of just walking 1,000 meters just to get some water or get a tree or something. But yeah, I think that is going to conclude for this showcase for the Warpstones add-on, because this this add-on is very helpful in many cases, and I do see some wolves chasing down a fox over there. That was kind of just, catching my attention. There's like a baby wolf just helping the mother chase after it. Look at that. It's also aggressive. That's interesting. That's part of life. Part of the experience. Like, look at this. Damn. I feel bad for the fox, but that's life. But if you guys enjoy this showcase, then I'm grateful for your time. But until then, I'm just going to continue to do more research within Minecraft. And I also did say I was going to tell you guys which build did I vote for. But yeah, I vote for the treehouse one. Yeah, I think the treehouse one looks kind of nice. But if you guys disagree, then that's fine, because that was just my opinion. But it just kind of fits more of the narrative of what Minecraft is going to go for anyway. But until then, see you guys next time with another showcase.